All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Minor League Esports, brought to you by APM Music. My name is Dextron. I am joined by Pi R Square tonight here, man. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. And, I feel like we're going to have a fantastic matchup. And the theme, I think, for this weekend is definitely going to be playoff implications. And the matchup that we have tonight against two division rivals, Dex, I think is going to be no different.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Our first series of the night, we'll be heading to Academy League Standard to see the Hawks take on the Hive. The Hawks, like you said, coming in this one, the fifth best team in that league. Hive coming to its sixth, so a lot on the line in this one tonight.
Absolutely right. And the more important thing I would argue is the fact that this is indeed a divisional matchup. So any opportunity that you get, and I know I've said this in the past on different broadcasts, but any opportunity that you get in order to get a leg up on a division opponent, like you have a perfect opportunity here today, get enough points, you get enough games in, that could very well be the difference between now and a couple weeks from now when we start playoffs.
Absolutely here, but just before the stream started, I'm gonna poke fun at you a little bit here for wearing your Hawks jersey. You used to play for them, so you said there's gonna be no bias here tonight, but I'm definitely gonna jump into the bias a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. There's absolutely no bias here whatsoever. I did play for the Hawks a couple seasons ago. That's absolutely right. And I love what Stas and Jags have accomplished in the intervening time, and they've got their boys humming, and I think that the Hive, they're going to have a very interesting time. But interestingly enough, I think these teams are going to end up, at least on paper, a little bit more alike than what we've seen previously.
Yeah, I honestly agree with that right now, because looking at their records, only one loss is the difference between these two teams right now. Hawks coming in this one 23-17, the Hive coming in this one 22-18. So, we could see these teams walk out of this game tonight tied.
You're absolutely right. 5 minutes on the clock. Game one underway. It's going to go the way of the Hive. Trailblazer off of the sidewall, puts it in towards Railing Rob. They're going to have a lofted shot on target. Directed away at the last possible minute by Cheeto, but it's not out of the danger area yet. It's still in the middle of the field, and the Hive certainly swarming off the opening kickoff.
Yeah, desperate trying to get out of their side of the field, or the Hawks desperate trying to get out of the side of their field to start here, but our Blake going to be able to keep it on the Hawks side of the field. They're going to play it out of the corner, try to get a follow-up touch there, but you're going to see Snorp here just play it all the way downfield. Trailblazer gets a save there, but again, now the Hawks have a good opportunity to get something going here.
Absolutely right. Cheeto takes it up the far side wall. They're met by our Blake 8 into the corner, and Railing Rob and T-Brock go in a challenge. T-Brock off of the backboard. Trailblazer go with the in and out squishy save to direct it in towards that near side corner, and still in the area for the Hawks, trying to take advantage of this possessive opportunity. Tree Snorp into the near side corner. Can they get one more? They forego the ball and go for the bump instead. The ball doesn't make its way past that near side post. It's still stymied for the moment by the Hive.
Cheeto trying to play it out of the corner, but Trailblazer right there to 50-50 it away. Now Tree Snorp has an opportunity to center it, but there's no one there for the Hawks to put a shot on goal. However, Cheeto's there. They're going to center it for T-Brock, and there's going to be no one to get back in time for the Hawks. The Hive, and the Hawks take the lead here first.
And it's just a missed touch from Railing Rob, and they don't end up getting back to that secondary touch. And the defense for the Hive, absolutely nowhere to be found on the back post, rotating in a little bit too late. It's an open net. The Hawks to take advantage of, and they're soaring high in the opening minute and a half.
Our Blake going to try to play this one here, but it's 50-50 away there by, I believe that was Tree Snorp. But again, the Hive here getting something going fast off the kickoff. The Hawks try and just get the ball away from their own goal right now, but Tree Snorp actually going to play a light ball there to T-Brock. T-Brock wins at 50-50, has the opportunity to go for another one, but Railing Rob able to get it away from them. However, Cheeto going to be able to keep it on the Hive side of the field.
If only for the moment, and the Hawks, they've got the majority of the possession within these opening 2 minutes. The Hive, they had an interesting opportunity off of the opening kickoff, but since then they've really been penned in their own zone, and T-Brock launches that ball towards the opposing corner, where both players for the Hawks try to corral that along the board, but it ends up going all the way back towards their own zone. And now it's the Hive with an opportunity to try and get something jump started on offense, and Railing Rob will touch it into the middle of the field for Blake. A shot opportunity. It goes just wide. Demolition, though, will open things up, and an additional bump from Blake on the back line sees the Hive equalize.
Yeah, these are the plays I love to see. A shot just a little bit wide there, but that demo on that backline and the following bump really allowed Railing Rob there to have a wide open opportunity at that goal there. And just like I said, overall great play coming out from both Blake and Rob.
Absolutely correct. And wanted to see a little bit more physical play and wondering which of these teams was going to establish that in this game number 1. Appears so far to have been the Hive, as they've executed that to great effect to tie this game back up. Now it's T-Brock in their own corner, will dish it out all the way towards the opposing sideline, picked up by Trailblazer. They wanted to do what attempted to be an air dribble, but they'll bang it away and bang a shot just high. T-Brock will grab the mid boost and try and go after the ball, but they flip off of that sidewall. They're not able to get an additional touch. Cheeto bluffed it high towards the backboard. Nobody's there. It's an open opportunity for T-Brock, trying to dish it into the middle of the field for a teammate, but that chance goes begging.
Trailblazer does a great job there, getting that ball away and clearing it all the way downfield. Well, Blake tries to get something going there, but T-Brock there able to just deny him, and they win it 50-50, getting it towards center field here, but Trailblazer able to get the ball there first. Tries to get it past one member, but Cheeto easily able to clear it right back downfield. Now they're following it up on this corner wall, going to center it, but Railing Rob is there tonight. However, T-Brock up in the air, going to put a touch towards goal, but not going to be strong enough. However, their teammates just off that lower 90 there. However, the Hawks still attacking.
Oh my goodness. And if you're the Hawks, you're going to be sure you're going to want to capitalize on that opportunity. But as Dazrin said on the RLCS broadcast today, that was certainly lowercase execution on that one. And they had the opportunity, they didn't execute on it, and now it's the Hive trying to make them pay for it as we pass towards 1 minute left to play in this game. Cheeto pushed the ball out wide towards the side. Railing Rob will try to hold it up in the middle of the field. They get a touch, and they actually do get back to the ball before T-Brock is able to get there. T-Brock with a back pass. Tree Snort gets one touch. We'll leave it for T-Brock again, and very stymied gameplay in the midfield as we approach 50 seconds left to play.
Yeah, each team has had a couple good opportunities at goal since the Hive scored the equalizer here. And honestly, the Hawks have had probably the better of them, just not been able to get anything off of them, though. But Cheeto now going to play a ball here towards goal. Trailblazer easily going to get the save. However, T-Brock going to keep it on the Hive side of the field as we near about half a minute left to go. A bump coming out, but we do see Tree Snort there able to keep it on this Hive side. Railing Rob gets another save. 30 seconds left to go here. The Hive desperately trying to get something going here. Trailblazer, though, going to center a pass there for Railing Rob, but they don't get the touch they were probably looking for there.
An infield pass goes banging as Railing Rob is having to scream all the way back towards their defensive side. The ball is in the corner, and the Hawks looking to maintain one last second press. T-Brock, their opportunity goes off of the post, and now time does expire. Can we get one more opportunity? No, the ball does touch the ground. Overtime in game number 1.
These two teams have been pretty even, in my opinion, throughout that the first 5 minutes there. Yeah, each team has scored a goal. Each team has had chances, and each team kind of squandered them right there. The physical play really worked out better for the Hive, in my opinion. We haven't really seen a lot of physical play come out from the Hawks just yet, but the Hawks have had better opportunities to score. They just haven't been able to put them in the back of the net yet.
Now, you want to talk about quality of chances, and the run of play has seemed to favor the Hawks in this game number 1. But as you said, the Hive, they haven't gone anywhere just yet, and they still have themselves in this game. It's only a one-shot game at the current moment. And the ball lofted from the backboard. Railing Rob will meet the contest of Cheeto on the goal line. We'll try to get a second touch, but the flip out towards the mid boost. Our Blake 8 gets bumped off of the ball, and it's Tree Snort trying to hold the ball in possession in the corner for the Hawks. And right now, the defense for the Hive is kind of scrambling just a little bit. Got to wonder if the boost deficit is getting to them, as the possession of the Hawks certainly mounting in the opening minute of overtime.
Oh, Railing Rob's going to put a shot here on goal. Cheeto, though, denies it. However, our Blake is right there to probably put another shot, and gets denied away here by the Hawks member here. But it's still in the dangerous spot. Trailblazer again going for a shot. Cheeto with another save. Centering opportunity here. Trailblazer going to leave it there for Railing Rob. And T-Brock with a nice bump there to make sure there's no follow-up shot there. Hive, though, still attacking here, but now the Hawks look for a breakaway.
Looking for that breakaway, and that bump absolutely saved a golden opportunity away from the Hive. And the Hive, we praised them earlier for their physical play, but that doesn't mean that the Hawks certainly aren't capable of producing some of their own. Cheeto puts the ball out past midfield. Our Blake 8, the possessive play, finds the ball towards Railing Rob, and the outlet opportunity means that Railing Rob's going to have a little bit of time if they can get to the ball. They decide to collect the boost instead. T-Brock trying to run interference on the back line, doesn't end up connecting, but it does slow the rotations down just a little bit and prevents the Hive from going on a breakout.
Trailblazers are gonna get this ball first played into the Hawk side. Oh, our Blake is right there, but looks like they don't get a touch on it. That will be a fast shot on goal, but nothing comes from it. Railing Rob, though, trying to keep this ball alive in this Hawk side. Oh, it's just bouncing there in front of the goal. Trailblazers getting up for a shot. They're gonna be able to put this one in to give them the win here in game 1.
And I was just about to say, it's going to come down to who ends up making the first mistake. And the first mistake that the Hawks make is the one that ends up costing them in overtime. Just an unfortunate side flip towards the wrong direction for D-Brock. They end up not getting contact on the ball. They leave Tree Snorp out to dry on the back line. And just perfect pixel shot placement on that back post. And the Hive, they end up taking game number 1.
Yeah, this was a very close, evenly fought game 1. I even said after the end of regulation, both these teams seemed like they were pretty even. And I think both me and you kind of agree that the Hawks had the better chances throughout that first game. A couple ones went off the post, one off the lower 90, which looked very good for them. But the Hive are always able to keep themselves in it. And that's what I think really won them this first game.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and when you have a player like Cheeto on the back line, they come into this series 7th in defensive performance index rating. And you can see via the statistics that we had on the scoreboard, they were credited with 4 saves out of the 5 total that their team managed to accumulate. But Trailblazer, they have their own on the other side on the Hive. They've got they come into the series 7th in saves as well. So a very defensively stalwart matchup between both of these two teams kind of played out in this game number 1, which required, again, overtime. And we talked about the evenness of this matchup. I think it's going to be a little bit more of the same as we move forward on Neo Tokyo.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of evenness, again, 10 shots each for each team in that first game. So, like, these two teams come into this game really close in almost every statistical thing. Most importantly, though, the standings. And the Hive desperately need to, try to win this series overall to at least give them the upper edge in the standings against the Hawks.
Absolutely right. Each team knows that each game matters tremendously when you're talking about intra-divisional games, and especially this close to playoff time as game 2 kicks off. Cheeto, the high lob, and they get a demolition on the way out, trying to get a dunk on Trailblazer, but they do well enough to keep it in the middle of the field. Blake 8's touch finds his way towards Trailblazer on the outlet. Interior pass, puts it high. Trailblazer, do they have the read? They have one touch off of the backboard, and a demolition from the Hive ends up not mattering and not opening up any sort of space as the ball finds its way out towards midfield.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed so far throughout these first 2 games, or the first game and the short amount of time we've seen here in game 2, the Hive are very open to trying these infield passing plays to each other. They haven't necessarily worked out yet, but they have been very close. It all just comes down to that second touch that they've been trying to get, but just hasn't been a strong enough attempt on goal here. Cheeto puts a strong attempt there on goal. All break, able to get the save. A follow-up there from T-Brock gets denied, but Tree Snorp right there to put in the 3rd attempt, and you're not going to stop 3 attempts there.
I mean, it's a dangerous shot, but when you get the entire team to bite on what ends up being a smokescreen effort on the near post, that ball squirts out towards the back post, and Tree Snorp will say, thank you very much. I can very well certainly shoot this into an open net. And the Hawks find themselves up early in game number 2. And Tree Snorp, they try to double their efforts, but they end up sailing right on past the ball. Cheeto, not able to get touch on it. Railing Rob, do they have what it takes? Not to beat the defense at the current time.
A good attempt there, though, by the Hive off of a couple mistakes there from the Hawks and maybe even some members of the Hive, but the Hive almost benefited from it. However, Cheeto now clearing it out of the Hawks side of the field, trying to get something going again, trying to give the Hawks a 2-goal lead here early, which would be huge for them, considering, they're gonna be able to do it! T-Brock!
Man, you talk about the certainty of multi-goal lead, but T-Brock, my goodness, top corner. Ain't nobody touching that ball on its way in, and there you go. You talk about having the first multi-goal lead of this series. It goes to the Hawks, and now it's on the behalf of the Hive to try and get something going off of the ensuing kickoff. They almost do get a flick over the last defender, but the Hawks are still standing strong, and they're trying to find the 3rd, potentially putting that far enough post, and Railing Rob will put it into the corner for safety.
Trailblazers are going to play this one down, but everyone for the Hawks is right there. They're going for the bump. Cheeto fakes them out. Cheeto able to get it past one, but are they going to be able to get past the second one? Blake had a chance for a double touch there. Not going to be able to put on goal as Tree Snorp able to clear it out here. Railing Rob, though, going to try to pick this one up for corral it. However, you do see a member of the Hawks there center it. A bump there by R. Blake, able to stop, but Trailblazer able to stop another shot there by Tree Storm. Trailblazer now playing it center there. Has to quickly get back to that one to make sure it's not just going to be an easy shot opportunity there for the Hawks.
And Trailblazers certainly living up to their defensive name, as we saw in game number 1. They're managing to do it all. Backboard defense, extra clears, what have you, making sure that they're sound on the defensive end are these Hive players. And then look at this. It's an open opportunity. Can R Blake 8 get it? They get a touch on it. End up not having to get the bump instead, and they'll get credited for that goal. And Trailblazers like, I did all that work, and I'm not, and all I get was this little secondary assist. But hey, they bring it back within 1. I'm sure they'll rather have 1 than 0 on that scoreboard.
Yeah, and that was such a dangerous play there from R. Blake. If that ball does not go in, you know, you're probably getting yelled at by your teammates saying, that ball was going in, why did you touch it? But, you know, it went in. They're able to cut this lead to 1. Railing Rob going to pass it back here to R. Blake as Trailblazer picks up another demo in this game right now. 2 minutes left to go in this one. The Hive trying to come back now, and they're able to get it over Cheeto. However, Tree Snorp is back there.
Speaking of backboard, R Blake 8 waiting will let Trailblazer take the initial attempt. Cheeto going to circle underneath the ball and eventually have the ball come to them. T-Brock on the follow-up puts it towards the back, and they get a follow-up touch. They'll defer for Tree Snorp coming in from the third man position. Trailblazer doesn't make contact on the backboard, but it ends up not mattering as the ball gets ping-ponged around and eventually cleared to the corner. Blake with an infield opportunity gets cut out by Cheeto. Now it's 1v1 against Trailblazer. Can they center the ball in? They'll forgo all of that and secure that corner boost and try to establish a little bit more possession with that boost advantage.
R. Blake now trying to control this ball here in the Hawk side. Gets 50 away there, but Trailblazer is right there to play it into the corner. R. Blake going to dip out here, go grab some boost, and almost a great opportunity coming there for the Hive, but just one member of the Hawks able to go. But here comes another good opportunity, and it's just able to sneak in that lower 90.
It was tracking so close to that near post. I thought, oh my goodness, they might just get away with it, but a fantastic challenge at the midfield line by R. Blake 8. Heck, give them 2 goals on 2 shots for them. Actually 3 shots, but 2 goals in the most 2 recent opportunities for the Hive. Back to a level game, and under a minute to go, we've got the Hive with all the momentum.
The Hive have all the momentum at the moment right now, but the Hawks have had some good opportunities. Just haven't really been able to succeed on them again. A lot like in game 1 right now, but now the Hive here attacking. Trailblazer gonna put that ball all the way across the goal there. Try to keep it here, but Tree Snorp gonna be able to play it past R8 or Blake 8 there. But now the Hive is trying to do something there.
Like we might have saw a little bit of a picture perfect reflection for a Hawks goal, much like they got scored on their second opportunity from the Hive, but now it's demolitions going all over the place. T-Brock on the backside of the play will take R Blake 8 out, and they'll have to rotate themselves all the way back onto their spawn. Final 10-second countdown on the screen. Trailblazer trying to mount one last attack for the Hive. R Blake 8 comes screaming in, trying to get the read and potentially a dunk on that ball before it touches the ground, but it's not meant to be. Second game, second overtime.
Yeah, these teams able to keep it close throughout. Even with the Hawks taking an early 2-0 lead, the Hive have been able just to kind of slowly build their way back into this one. And like you said, probably have the momentum going into overtime here, because while the Hawks have had some chances, they have started to look a little sloppy.
And again, much like we talked about in game number 1 overtime period, it's going to come down to who makes fewer mistakes in the overtime period. And right now, with all the pressure that the Hawks are mounting, they may be able to force that mistake out of the Hive. But Trailblazer, 2 players commit on the back line. Is that the opening that the Hawks need? It's R Blake 8 with the shot at the death. On the brink of going in, they maintain the game, and we're still tied and we're still playing in overtime.
Trailblazers are going to try to set up a pinch here with R. Blake, but not able to have anything go there. Railing Rob needs to go up and get a touch on that one, or it would have gone in for sure there. Tree Snorp, though, able to get away. And, it's a wide open opportunity, and T-Brock will make them pay.
Oh, my goodness. Railing Rob did about all that they could, trying to hold that ball up and allow time for their teammates to get back. And honestly, T-Brock, that was a little bit closer to the crossbar than I thought that they would be comfortable with. But, hey, it ends up going in. And much like in game number 1, It's a costly mistake on the defensive end that leads to that decisive goal. And now we've got an even series going into game number 3. And much like we saw before, it's starting to be the story of the evening where these teams, I mean, they're pretty evenly matched, and all it takes is a couple mistakes in order to swing the series either way.
Yeah, and I thought there was a great opportunity there at the end of regulation for the Hawks to potentially score off of fast break opportunity, because you did see both or two members of the Hive double commit into a potential goal opportunity, which would have won them a game in regulation. However, it didn't work out for them. I could say the same thing for the Hawks as well. They double committed into a shot with about a minute to go, and their third man was on the goal line for the Hive. So it was a wide open net opportunity for the Hive if they had been able to get a strong touch downfield. However, just not able to get that.
Yeah, not able to end up putting that one away in regulation. And as we look through the stat line, as we get into game number 3, a little bit more presence on the offensive end from the Hawks compared to the Hive in that game number 2. But still, all things considered, I mean, we're going to harp on this point until it becomes no longer valid. Very evenly matched. And I'm wondering if this trend is going to continue. Are we going to have a third overtime in game number 3, or is somebody going to unlock something that allows the offense to flourish a little bit more compared to their competitors?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see here as we head into game number 3. Right now, looks like the Hawks win the kickoff here, but everyone just kind of decides to go back and get boost. Railing Rob gonna try to take this one off the sidewall. Cheetah though gets a touch. T-Brock right there gets a touch, gonna play it off this back wall. Tree Storm coming right in, but R. Blake on that back line to keep the save and keep this game tied.
Oh my goodness, we saw that late in game number 2, and R. Blake 8 already starting off the game strong on the defensive position, and they're going to have an opportunity to take the ball on the dribble themselves. Can they get that mid boost? No, T-Brock takes it away from them, and now he's got boost to work with. Can they pinch it towards the net? It ends up going the complete opposite direction, and R. Blake 8 forced to make another touch on the goal line, and they weren't able to get a follow-up. Cheeto able to be there in the nick of time, puts the first goal in once again for the Hawks.
Cheeto's first goal of the series gave us the Hawks the lead again to start a game. All three games have started with a Hawks goal here. The Hive have always been able to respond, though. Granted, it was a 2-0 deficit in game 2. However, they were able to tie that one up there. But the Hawks coming out here strong after that kickoff. Railing Rob gets a save. T-Brock, again, had a good opportunity to put it on goal. Just plays it a little bit wide. Railing Rob trying to get it out away from the goal, but just plays it to the corner. Cheetah, though, going to continue following up on this ball. Going to go off the back wall there for Tree Storm. Shot off the crossbar, but T-Brock going to be able to keep it on the Hive side.
Yeah, one of the things that is consistent across all of the goals for the Hawks is the fact that the Hive have bitten on double or triple commits on the defensive end on nearly all of those goals. So every time I see a double commit come through on their back line, it's almost like, okay, are the Hawks going to be able to take advantage of this? And so far, we've only got the one on the scoreboard, and that's not too much to ask to be able to come back from. They're going to have to try and mitigate those mistakes and mitigate those rotational errors as we push through in this series.
T-Brock getting credited with the shot there. Tree Storm could be able to keep it on the Hive side. They're going to try to follow this one up here. However, Railing Rob able to get there first. Trailblazer trying to get out of their side, but a shot opportunity could be coming there 50-50, though, just to the side wall right there. Trailblazer does follow it. Not able to get touched there. Railing Rob, though, will be able to play it past, I believe that was T-Brock. And now the Hive have an opportunity here, but T-Brock able to deny that opportunity fast. However, Trailblazer, this ball is going to be on goal. Oh, it's just off the top crossbar. And I believe that was R. Blake trying to get a shot there.
Yeah, they had their chances, certainly. And that one isn't going to go in.
No.
It's going to go just wide. So hopefully they take advantage. They take note of that, and they avoid giving up the own goal, at least for now. The Hive, they get their chances if they're able to force the third from the Hawks to overcommit, but instead it's Tree Snorp in the right place at the right time, following up their own ball off of that back wall to get a little bit of a touch assist from Cheeto. Puts it right on a silver platter for them to double the lead.
I want to call out R. Blake after that one there. They were sitting there in the corner waiting for that big boost to try to get something going after it. However, because they didn't play the goal line, they left a wide open opportunity. And again, second time here, the Hawks take a 2-0 lead. Just halfway left to go in this one. So the Hive still does have some time here. They just need to try to get something going. They haven't had a lot of shot opportunities.
They haven't, because they've spent most of this game itself on the defensive and even in their own half of the field. Everything that they've tried to do has been met at the midfield line by the Hawks' third man. And once again, there's a great example of that. The ball just falls to Cheeto, and they're trying as they might to keep the ball out of the Hawks' zone. As the ball just finds its way down the midfield stripe, Cheeto's going to launch another shot on, and Blake. They get the side flip, but the ball wasn't going in either way, and Cheeto's follow-up opportunity as the defense for the Hive struggles to keep that ball out of the net. It's now a 3-goal advantage.
Yeah, the defense struggling. The offense is struggling even worse right now for the Hive. 0 shots on the board right now for them. The Hawks have just been absolutely dominating game 3 here. And this is the first time all series that the Hive really look like they're not completely all in this one. It seems like they're flustered.
I think that would be a good way to describe it. Things aren't going the way that they have been going the rest of this series for the Hive. They've been able to get breakout opportunities and establish some modicum of possession in all of the other games, whereas this one, the Hawks, they've really locked down that defensive line at the midfield, and they're really not giving or affording any opportunities for the Hive to work with. And if they continue to not be able to get booming clears and then follow that up with established possession, then, you know, we're not going to really see a whole lot of offensive production from the Hive.
Yeah, Trailblazer takes care of Tree Snorp there. Trying to get something. There's their first shot for the Hive this game. It only took them almost 4 minutes. But, I mean, if they can find a goal here, they might still have a chance in this one. That ball going towards goal, but T-Brock is there. Trailblazer comes in, tries to get a touch, but just a little bit too fast for him as T-Brock just pinched it all the way downfield.
Yeah, a little bit too quickly on that turn to try and direct that back towards the net. However, they do, as you indicated, get their first shot. I'm wondering if it's going to take a little bit more of that physical play like we saw them establish in game number 1 to try and get back into the flow of things. The more that you take the opponents off of the field, if you can get a demo on that third man as you're rotating out, you open that outlet pass ability for you to get something going on offense. But as time winds down in game number 3, it might be a little bit too little too late for the Hive.
Yeah, but at this point, you're just looking for a confidence goal for the Hive. If you want to give yourself a little bit of confidence going into game 4 here after what is a game you probably want to forget. Railing Rob, though, the ball going to drop down in front of goal here for the Hive. Blake has a good opportunity. Cheetah, though, going to play it away, and it's going to be a clean sheet here for the Hawks in game 3.
And for the first time in this series, we finish a game within the allotted 5-minute regulation. Didn't require overtime in game number 3 due to a fantastic offensive performance from the Hawks. And that's kind of what we said in the intervening period between game 2 and 3. Are we going to see that trend continue, or was one of these teams going to pop off on the offensive end? I think the Hawks have definitively answered that it was their time in game 3. Now, as we move forward to game 4, the Hive, they've got a lot to work on because the Hawks, they started coming and they didn't stop coming.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a couple plays that we could easily go back and watch for all the goals essentially that the Hawks did there for the Hive, though. The second goal, the one I want to kind of point at there, Blake kind of sitting in the corner waiting for the big boost, not going towards goal, left the goal completely wide open. Now, yeah, you could say, in the end, it doesn't matter since the Hive didn't score, but it was only a 1-goal game at that point. They keep that ball out of the net. Maybe they find an equalizer, and maybe we're in overtime right now. But with the Hawks scoring that second goal, I felt like the Hive just kind of lost some confidence and stuff a little bit.
Yeah, once you lose that kind of mental edge, it becomes increasingly difficult to come back from, especially since the Hawks were able to add a third goal on top of that. And the fact that the offensive margin was so big in terms of the shot total, man. I mean, you look at that and it's 13 shots to 2. And you're spending the entirety of your game in your own defensive half. You're not able to get anything going on offense until the very end of the game. It can get demoralizing, but the good thing about this is that they've got the rest of this series to play out, and they still have an opportunity to get a win in this series, and it all starts with game 4.
Yeah, Hive doing a little bit better job here off the kickoff to get the ball in the Hive side or the Hawks side a little bit here, but again, just a little bit of a sloppy play coming out from both sides here just to start this one off. Already 30 seconds in. Not really any good scoring opportunities just yet. That's the first shot there. T-Brock gets denied by Trailblazer.
A little bit of a communication issue, maybe, perhaps, for the Hive on the rotational side of things. Saw two players on the near side. Eventually they do sort it out, and now our Blake's going to have a little bit of time to take possession. They don't get that mid boost. I'm wondering if they end up needing it at all, but the ball finds its way towards the backboard. Trailblazer will sit and wait and take the 50, and T-Brock try to do a follow-up shot. Railing Rob is there on the near post to try and direct this out to midfield and start something for the Hive.
Able to get away from Rob, though. Now they're trying to get something going again for them. And we do see Treestorm up there play it down into the Hive side. Our Blake back there to try to play it out. 50-50 there across field, and looks like Treestorm will be able to get there first, but doesn't get the touch they're probably looking for there. Railing Rob going to pass here to our Blake, but again, that's something we've seen a lot from the Hive, but they've just not been able to connect. But look at this play!
And there you go. As soon as that demolition occurred, it was like only a matter of time before the ensuing shot would go towards the net. And that's exactly what we talked about in the closing moments of game number 3, is that are the Hive going to be able to reestablish that physical presence? And so far, in their opening minute and a half of this game, they've demonstrated that to great effect. Are they going to be able to keep that up, or are they going to be able to avoid some of the demos for the Hawks? But no, it's another one that comes railing in as Cheeto tries to dribble this ball all the way out towards the midfield. T-Brock gets a secondary touch on it, but Railing Rob goes air ball through the ball over and into the corner. Trailblazer trying to get another touch, but they'll just circle around past the ball, and now it's a 2v1 opportunity cut out in midfield, and both the offenses stalling out just a little bit after that opening score.
Trailblazers now corralling the ball here, able to get a 50-50 there past one member of the Hawks here, and getting a bump there onto, I believe it was Tree Snort there, but you see a clearance all the way downfield. Trailblazers, though, on the rotation back, able to clear to the opposite side, while Cheetah now gonna try to play something here. They're gonna fake it there. Tree Snort with the shot. Our Blake with a huge save there, but Cheeto and the Hawks still attacking here. They're trying to recenter it there. The Hive desperately trying to get this ball out of their side. Trailblazers are gonna try to bring it upfield. T-Brock tries to 9, but it's finally back on the Hawks side of the field.
How many times have we called our Blake 8's name in conjunction with a fantastic goal line save that prevents the enemy team from scoring a goal? My goodness, what a save for probably the 3rd or 4th time in this series. Nothing but big saves on the side of the Hive as they try to maintain this lead. Now it's Trailblazer with an opportunity. They wanted a 50 with T-Brock, and everybody's missing the ball. The ball's just sitting there until Tree Snort finally gets a hit on it towards the midfield stripe, and now it's an open goal for Trailblazer. No! Railing Rob not able to catch up to it to double the lead. The Hawks certainly counting their blessings as that chance goes by the wayside.
Trailblazer picks up their 4th demo of the series there. Oh, a double commit coming out from the Hive could hurt them here a little bit. You try to see a back pass come there, and you do see our Blake there get it past one member of the Hawks. Trailblazer tries to put a shot here on goal. T-Brock with the denial. Clearance all the way downfield. Railing Rob plays it away, but we do see Cheeto right there. Now they're going to have a play at it. Trailblazer gets enough of a touch to deny a possible shot, but Tree Snort coming in with a shot of their own. Railing Rob just going to clear right back downfield as our Blake picks up their 3rd demo of this game.
3rd demo. It could be a shot opportunity, and that's exactly what happened on the ensuing possession. Is the fact that the Hive now, they're feeling a little bit more confident after they've established this physical gameplay in game number 4. And now with 1 minute to go, they still got a 1 goal lead to defend as 3 players. Oh my, it was almost 3 players. It was almost a triple demo, but Cheeto ends up finding the ball and walking it into the net. And a follow-up demolition. I thought T-Brock was going to get demoed. They do. Railing Rob, unfortunately, not able to catch back up to that ball. And that's the equalizer in stunning fashion for the Hawks.
Some aggression finally from the Hawks here. Haven't seen a lot of demos from them throughout this entire series right there. Picking up 2 in that last sequence there was great for them. Found the goal. Now, with less than a minute to go, they might be able to find themselves a winner here. But the Hive's still alive here. Oh, our Blake has an opportunity here, but Tree Snort going to be able to deny it. About 30 seconds left to go here. Each team looking for what could be the golden goal here.
To say anything you can do, we can do just a little bit better in terms of playing physically, but it's still the Hive that may have the last laugh at the end of the day as that ball rolls towards the opposing corner. Tree Snort caught backwards. They'll get demolished for standing still a little bit too long. You can't do this against the Hive team that smells blood in the water, but it's Cheeto trying to be the hero of game 4. T-Brock not able to connect on the ball either. Final 5 seconds. Can the Hawks put something on net? They will be able to, only for it to bounce towards the corner. And one last chance. Can they keep it up? Tree Snorp can. Cheeto not able to get to it. We have another overtime in game 4.
4 games, 3 overtimes. What more could you ask for? These two teams have been so evenly matched throughout the night, not counting game 3, but that it deserves overtimes. And almost Cheeto ending it there. 10 seconds to it. Now Trailblazer getting a pass there to R Blake, who passes it to Railing Rob. Back to R Blake. Oh, it's off the top crossbar. Trailblazer comes in with a shot. Railing Rob comes in with a shot. The Hive had a golden opportunity, and they don't have anything to show for it.
They don't have anything to show for it but a counterattack opportunity for the Hawks, and they still got possession, and my goodness, they might have just gotten away with it. If not, oh my goodness, another opportunity arises for the Hive. Can they force this one in? No, but it's still in a dangerous position in the corner. My goodness, what a sequence on defense for the Hawks.
What? Oh wait, the sequence though ends. Railing Rob gets a pitch goal to tie this series up and make game 5 worth a lot, apparently.
You know what? Railing Rob was just saw that entire sequence go down in the Hawks net and was just like, you know what? I'm just going to put this on net as quickly and as fast as possible. Have fun trying to save this. And my goodness, what a way to end game number 4 and push us towards a decisive game number 5. You couldn't really ask for anything else between these two teams.
You could not. Quickly though, exclamation point POTW. There have been a couple of plays and couple goals so far that absolutely fit that bill of play of the week right there. I mean, you could even say the Hawks might get play of the week for denying that golden opportunity the Hive had at the start of overtime. However, Railing Rob, only their second goal of the series, but what a goal it was from them. And both these teams now, I feel like this game 5 is actually has a lot of meaning behind it for the playoffs.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, excuse me, the winner of this series certainly has a leg up in terms of being in that prime position for that play-in spot. And, you know, if we're both of these teams in this division chasing the Aviators, who currently hold that #1 overall seed, and they're realistically, with 2 weeks left in the season, I don't believe there's a chance that they could catch them. They could. We'll have to look at that after this series ends. But man, you force a game 5 for the Hive. I think this series win would be huge, especially after those back-to-back games in 2 and 3, where they kind of had a little bit of momentum, but then they ended up getting stomped in game 3.
Yeah, but the Hawks here getting this ball into the Hive side pretty fast, getting a good opportunity here right now. R Blake on that back wall there to try to play it away. It's going out to the corner here, but Trees aren't going to try to corral it, get it past one member of the Hive. Oh, it's going to fall down right in front of goal, but R Blake, again, on this goal line, has pretty much been a brick wall here for the Hive.
Oh, my goodness. Every time we say their name, it's like either a praise of how good they're doing on defense or a shot that they're putting towards the net. And my goodness, have the Hive come to play defense especially. And we talked about Trailblazer, but our Blake 8, they've certainly stood up in this series, and a couple clutch saves have kept them to be in the position where they are right now.
Yeah, our Blake 8 might be one person who has done almost everything tonight. 2 goals. They have 8 demos, and a lot of those demos have came on goal scoring opportunities and goals that or shots that end up being goals for the Hive. So they have been all over the field here tonight for them. The Hawks are attacking right now. Trees are going to keep it in, play it out of that corner. It's going to be centered there, but there's going to be no one there for the Hawks to get a shot on goal. Cheeto going to try to corral here at the midfield line. Loses their life for it, but we do see the Hawks here. Railing Rob trying to find a goal here early in game 5.
Trying to find one, but denied so far by the defense of the Hawks. And now it's our Blake 8 on the dribble. Oh. They get it past the last defender in Cheeto, and they open the scoring in game 5. It's such a fantastic display of individual skill. You thought that Cheeto might have been able to take the challenge, but it's always a risky proposition if you're going to force a 50 in front of the middle of your own net. But say what you will about the Hive and how they've performed in this series so far. They currently hold all the cards.
Yeah, and what a nice play there by R Blake 8. Playing it slow, expecting the 50-50, but never got it, and ended up working out for them perfectly in the end. But however, the Hawks trying to find a quick equalizer here T-Brock goes up, gonna center here for Tree Snort, but Railing Rob there to clear it out to Trailblazer. They get a touch there. A wide open net, but there's not gonna be a strong enough shot from the Hive. Oh, wait, look at this!
I'm looking at it, Dex, and I still have no idea what's going on. It's just Railing Rob being in the right place and following through is Trailblazer as the ball comes bouncing down, and it's a 2-0 lead that the Hive have established. And I was getting ready to talk about how the Hive have looked so good in the past 2 or 3 games in establishing themselves as a better offensive team. The outlet passes that they're getting are finding those outlets, and it's allowing a little bit more of a 2 or 3 man passing play. And we saw that on that second goal for the Hive.
Yeah, and it's been something the Hive have been doing all series long here. It didn't really work out for them in the first 3 games, but in game 4, it finally started to click a little bit and started to work out great for them here. And now in this game, right now, we're starting to see these passing plays work out really good for them. However, the Hawks now need to try to respond here. They've kind of struggled a little bit here in these last 2 games. Yeah, the game 4 went to overtime, but I felt like the Hive are always getting the better opportunities.
At least so far in this game, and it seems like after that game 3 flurry of offensive activity that we saw from the Hawks, they haven't exactly been able to perform up to that level of expectation on the offensive end. Now it's Railing Rob trying to force a little bit more of what the Hawks were doing to the Hive in game 3 by establishing that high line, and Blake 8 gonna get credited with this shot. They take it from almost their own side of the field. I mean, you talk about downtown, and that's a snipe to the back post. My goodness, doesn't get any closer than that. And man, you talk about a turnaround from the Hive that we saw in game 3 moving into game 5. They're on the verge of running away with it if the Hawks don't do something about it quick.
Yeah, it's almost like game 3 is repeating itself here, but just reversed at the moment. The Hive looking like an incredibly good team on both ends of the field. But as I say that, Cheeto able to make the Hive pay for what looks like a little bit of a double commit, or just 2 players, actually, hell, the entirety of the Hive being on the same side of the field.
Yeah, you have all 3 players shifted over towards that near side where the ball is. It looked like it was a back pass opportunity that they were trying to implement. However, that second player was a little bit too far forward to take advantage of that back pass, and that's how the Hawks get on the board in this game number 5. And they still got plenty of time if they're going to get themselves back in this game, especially if double commits come through from the Hive. Cheeto trying to run interference on Railing Rob as the last defender, but Railing Rob ends up getting back to it and forces it out to the midfield stripe.
Cheeto passes there to T-Brock. T-Brock off the back wall, gonna leave it there for Cheeto. Cheeto tries to center it. Gets a shot here on goal, but not actually, goes a little bit wide. Cheeto, though, able to get that corner boost there. Gonna try to play it off the ceiling, center it there for one of their teammates. It's sitting there in front of the goal, but Blake 8 is there to play it away. However, here comes Tree Storm, just a little bit high. Cheeto following up. Trailblazer with the save and the clearance. A minute to go here in game 5.
Saved what was almost certainly going to be a second goal, and it kind of looked like a little bit too much of a communication error between the Hawks on that last maneuver. You saw 2 players going after the ball in the corner, and Cheeto ended up taking precedence over Tree Snorp on that. It kind of left Tree Snorp out of position to receive that pass in the middle of the field. And now as time winds down, it's the Hive trying to put this game away.
Hawks, though, trying to get something here. A goal here quickly can give them a lot of hope in this one, but Railing Rob now has the ball in the corner here. 50-50 away from them by T-Brock. However, here comes Trailblazer looking for the goal that will seal the deal, and they will find it.
And honestly, this didn't look like all that dangerous of a shot, but hey, everybody knows bounce shots are unsavable. And with the desperation that the Hawks were playing with in the closing 30 seconds, I mean, it's almost to be expected. If you're trying to play too fast, there are going to be balls that you're going to miss. But in a situation like this, you can't really afford to have that happen. Now, the last 20 seconds for the Hawks, are they going to be able to mount any sort of offensive push, or are the Hive just going to run out the clock with the final 10 on the screen? Cheeto directs the ball towards the side. Blake 8, can they add one more to the Hive tally as the clock strikes 0? They're going to try and put one more in to go, and Blake 8 shot will not be enough. But regardless of that, the Hive pull through in 5 games to take out the Hawks.
Yeah, and honestly, ever since game 3, where the Hawks looked very dominant, the Hive had looked really good there. Game 4 was, again, a lot like games 1 and 2. Very, very close, but it seemed like in overtime, with that golden opportunity that they didn't end up getting, it seems like the Hive figured something out. They got the momentum there and ended up winning game 4, brought it over into game 5, and just never really looked back.
Absolutely right. And we talked earlier about how these two teams were a lot more alike than they were different. I mean, coming into this series, they were pretty much even in not only goals per game, but also assists and saves per game. They're all within that sort of margin of error. And realistically, you look at this series from front to back, it's almost a mirror image of results. I mean, you talk about the Hive, they won the first game, and then the Hawks, they win the second game, and then they win the third game in a flurry of offensive activity. But then the Hive, they kind of run it back, they get that fourth game, and then in the fifth game, as we all saw, another outburst of offensive activity, this time on behalf of the Hive. So, you know, honestly, for two divisional rivals, they're a lot more alike than they are different.
Yeah, absolutely. There, just some stats that I wrote down throughout this entire game here. Trailblazer and Blake ended up tying with most goals with 4. Cheeto and Brock led the Hawks in scoring with 3 each. The Hawks actually did outshoot the Hive by 14 overall throughout the entire series, 44-13 or 44-30 in that category. Our Blake 8 led this whole series in demos with 8. Trailblazer picked up 6. Just a lot, like the Hive's physical play. We talked about it throughout the entire series night. There was definitely a lot more physical bumps and demos coming out from the Hive. The Hawks, though, on the other hand, they did have some physical plays too, and I believe a double demo led to their only goal in game 5.
I believe that is the case as well. And if we're going to talk about MVPs of the series, I think you have to give serious consideration to our Blake 8 and their defensive prowess and what they were able to accomplish, not only inside their own net, but on their own goal line. There were numerous times where they have play of the week candidate saves. And honestly, if you can't give it to an offensive player, then most certainly our Blake 8 made the case for themselves today.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that our Blake 8 did enough throughout this entire series tonight that they should be of the game. But remember, everyone, make sure if there's any good plays, you use that exclamation point, POTW, play of the week. Make sure that gets in so that it could potentially win a case of balls grana. Am I saying that right?
I'll leave it to you for the pronunciation of that. But I mean, we had several outstanding shots, saves, goals, blocks, demos, what have you in this series. So there's a lot of stuff to pick through if you're going to be able to only single out one moment from this series. But congratulations to the Hive for being able to put a little bit of early series adversity behind them and come through and finish out strong in game number 5.
Yeah. All right. Pyre, okay, yeah. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Pyre Squared, you were great. We're going to take a quick break. Make sure everyone sticks around. There is one more series after our break here tonight, so we're going to take a quick break and be right back.